Today, I want to talk a little bit about standing up for what you think is right. I grew up Catholic, so my favorite idea or story about standing up for what you think is right, even if it looks like you're doing something wrong, is Jesus flipping over the tables, creating a whip, and whipping fools. I loved that story when I was a kid. When I was a Christian, just because I was like, hell yeah, Jesus is a badass. He got hands, and that was important for me because I think I operated a state of high emotional or high emotions, and basically I'm a crash out, and I can be, and I have a lot of love to give, and I always go for love first. And so I think part of my delusion is that I feel like because I go for love first, then I'm justified in going for the throat if I feel violated in response. And that's also kind of a weird thing of, like, I guess my expectations, which can kind of play into like my ego and how I think I should be perceived. But I think I often try to check that by just centering myself in love and knowing that compassion is kind of a weird thing, right? Because when Jesus went to flip the tables over, he took the time to make a whip with 9 knots on it or whatever it is. I don't actually remember exactly what it was, but he was whipping fools, okay? And the irony that he would be whipped, right? So, on the one hand, I know that I can go too far, right? That I'm a crash out. I know. I know. And on the other hand, there's this part of me that feels like there are still certain things I won't tolerate. And it's like and I'm not, and I'm not a Christian, but I would certainly consider myself a disciple of Yeshua. Not like, one of the first. There's a lot of us, right? And a lot of people who even call themselves Buddhists, I think, would be the same. We're like the same kind of group, right? Because I think probably Yeshua and Buddha were like the same soul. I think I've talked about this before a little bit. And because the whole thing that they were teaching, is like Buddha didn't want to create Buddhism. He wanted to create more Buddhas. The reason people loved Yeshua is because when they said, "Oh, you are a son of God. We see it in you." He said, "But when I look back at you, I see the same thing. The kingdom of God is within you as much as it is within me." That's why he's so loved, right? Because he's like, hey, it's in you. Right? So the way that plays out in my life, too, is that I believe truly that my relationship with the people who show me unconditional love, like my family, are truly sacred, because I came here knowingly. I chose to be here with them. I knew, before I came in here, like I knew what I was going to get into. I had time to go back to. But I love my family, and I'm here for them. And there's just certain behavior I can't tolerate. And I guess this is kind of a conversation about the lens that we look at morality, too. Because what's good from that perspective? What is good if we live in a world that is a little sick? Because frankly, part of what I learned from Jesus and studying the Bible at a young age, and then also once I got into my occult studies, really understanding the real Yeshua, the real teachers who have walked our earth and what they've been saying. It's like, oh, I'm here for a reason. And part of that reason is that I got hands, right? part of being compassionate is being a warrior. Because a true warrior of honor knows when to sheathe his blade and when to wield it. And my blade is a flame. I don't swing it to strike people down. I swing it to burn away things that are wrong and darkness, and to bring light to those things that need to be illuminated. My natural, and I said this in my last video, my natural state is radical compassion. I was talking a little bit about the man who, I was talking a little bit about my predator last video. And for instance, that man is still alive. He is now so senile that he definitely doesn't recognize me. I'm not sure that he fully recognizes himself. His body works fine. And, I don't wish any ill will on him. I just don't, despite the evil that he visited upon me and multiple other members of my family. Because who knows, man? Who knows, because of the way men are, especially back then, who knows that his light wasn't taken from him at a young age? Does that justify his actions? No. But he is human, and humans are capable of evil just as much as they are capable of good. And I think part of living as a follower of Yeshua is holding the two, not being black or white, but being gray. And like I said, I'm not justifying being a crashout, okay? I recognize that I can be a dick and I can say horrible things and have. I guess I'm just talking about my reasoning. Because I want to be able to look back at this video and say, oh, this is what gets you into trouble. When you start thinking like this. But we do live in a sick world. Now, we live in a beautiful world too. That's the thing, right? It's not black or white. There is so much beauty. I said it last time, but I said it in my last video, but there are pains that are too vast to ever capture with words, and a joy so immense and so ancient that it's immeasurable. And they live in harmony here. And so everything here is a teacher. That's why my family is so important, because our bond is sacred. I chose it. They got things to teach me. I got things to teach them. And how we interact with each other and love each other and give each other what we need is how we define who we are together and who we are apart from each other. That's why it's so important to forgive, too. It's like the only way truly out of the darkness. When all you have, if the flame is just embers, you either have to forgive or forget. And frankly, forgetting is just a step on the path to forgiveness. Because the only law is love. Love under will. But yeah, I'm going to keep flipping over tables, though. Believe that. As long as I'm here. The flame has a job to do, I guess. But anyways, I love you. Talk to you later.